Congratulations, you have made it to the last section of college algebra. We're going to go through and solve some more systems of equations. This time they will be nonlinear, meaning we will have at least one equation with a variable with an exponent that is bigger than 1. The same rules apply. We still use the substitution method. We're going to solve one of the equations for a variable, plug that into the other, and get some ordered pairs. This time we may have more than one ordered pair that might solve a system, and that's perfectly fine. Remember, in linear equations we either had a single point, we had infinitely many solutions, or no solutions. In this case of nonlinear equations, we can have more than one point and it not be infinite. We could get 2 points, we could get conceivably up to 4 points that work for both equations. So when that happens, in their graph, the graphs would intersect up to 4 times conceivably. So we will jump into some examples because we've already talked about the method of this. The method stays the same. The substitution method does not change for this. We're still going to pick an equation, solve for a variable, plug it into the other equation, get an answer there, plug that back in, etc., etc. So we're just going to jump into some examples. We want to solve the system here. So we have 2 equations. One of them has a squared on it. So that means it's a nonlinear system, as we would expect. So we need to pick one of these equations and solve for one of the variables. And you can do either one. It's the same kind of notes apply. If there is a variable already by itself, use that one. If a variable doesn't have a coefficient on it, then use that one. I like to use, if I have a linear equation in this, which I do right here, I like to solve that one first, especially if there's a coefficient not happening on one of the variables. Like I have 2 options here. I have an x with no coefficient in the first equation. I have an x with no coefficient in the second equation. So I could do either one and solve for x using that helpful bit of advice there. I'm just going to pick the second one because that's just the one I prefer in this instance, but you can pick either one. Now, since the x has no coefficient, I'm going to solve for x, meaning I need to get rid of this plus 8. So x equals 4y minus 8, and that comes from the second equation. So now I need to rewrite the first equation, drop the x out, but plug in what x equals. Now, since there's no number in front of this parentheses, they don't really mean anything. So I can just get rid of them. It's like distributing a 1, kind of, is what you're doing. So now I can combine like terms. Negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4. Now I have a quadratic equation here with y. Now remember back in Unit 1, Unit 2 stuff, when we wanted to solve quadratic equations, we need to get all of the terms on the same side so that it's equal to 0, and then I can either factor or use the quadratic formula. So the same rule applies here. Because I have a quadratic or a second power, I need to get everything on the same side. So I subtract 4y and add 4 so that I have nothing but 0 on the right side of this equation. Now when I do that, none of these are like terms, so they just get written out, one right beside the other. Now I have a quadratic that I need to factor. So I know I'm going to have y and y there. Because I have a plus 4 here, I know both of my signs will be the same in my factors. Since my middle term is negative, I know they'll both be negative. So I need to start dividing. 4 divided by negative 1 is negative 4. Go up. 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. Remember, my pair here match, so I know I can't go any further. I can't divide it by 3, and I've already divided it by 4, so I'm done. I just need to add these now, each pair, and see which pair gives me this middle number. So negative 1 plus negative 4 is negative 5. Negative 2 plus negative 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 is what I have in the middle. So this is my pairing. So this those two pieces are the parts of my factors. So now we need to set each factor equal to 0, but they're the same factor, so I only have to do it once. I add 2 to both sides, I get that y equals 2. So I know this system has a solution, and that solution occurs at y equals 2. So now I plug 2 in to this equation. And I'm plugging them for y, since y is what I solved for there. So 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. So I have an x and a y now, so my solution here is 0, 8. 0, 2. Holy cow. Sorry, I was looking at this number right here as I was looking back up at, glancing back up at the equations. But my x is 0, my y is 2. So my ordered pair, or my solution, is 0, 2. And we can see if we plug 0 in for x, y squared equals 4, y would be 2. If we plug 0 in here, 4y equals 8, so y would be 2. So it works in both. So we'll look at some more examples of this. Oh, and I should write my ordered pair here, 0, 2. Another system similarly set up. I have a squared on my y, I have an x with no coefficient in both of them. I'm still going to pick the linear one to solve for. I need to get the variable with no coefficient by itself, so I need to get rid of the plus 10 with the x. So I get 2y minus 10 equals x. So I use the second equation. Now I need to use the first. I'm going to drop out the x. Remember, I put parentheses there usually. And then since there's nothing in front of the parentheses, I just turn around and remove them. But I dropped the parentheses out so I remember where my x was. Now I need to combine like terms. Negative 10 plus 9 is negative 1. I'm stuck with a quadratic again here. So I need to follow the same rules. I need to get everything on the same side so that there's a 0 on the right side of this, which means I need to do the opposite of positive 2y, which is subtract 2y, opposite of minus 1, which is add 1. So now I have y squared minus 2y plus 1. This is going to be very similar to the last one. See. So we need to look for factors of 1. Since it's positive 1, my factors will be the same. Since my middle term's negative, they'll both be negative. Numbers that multiply to give me 1, that add to give me negative 2. 1 is really easy. There's one set of numbers that multiply to give you 1 where both of them are negative. They do add up to negative 2. So these are my factors then, negative 1 and negative 1. Again, they're the same factor, so I only have to set it equal to 0 once and solve. So y is 1. So I plug that back in here. So 2 times 1 minus 10. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 10 is negative 8. So my x is negative 8, my y is 1. So when I come down to write my ordered pair, negative 8 and 1. Another example, this time we have a's and b's. We just think of them as x's and y's. A is your x, b is your y. You keep them in alphabetical order. So when we write our ordered pair, the a will go first, the b will go second. This time the second equation is already solved for b, so I don't need to pick one equation and solve for a variable. It's already done for me. So since the second one's the one that's solved, I'm going to substitute that into the first one. So I drop out the b. So I plug that in. I didn't have a coefficient there, so I just didn't write the parentheses. I don't have any like terms here, but if I write this in descending powers, So I put the negative a squared first, positive 5a, positive 27 equals 3. I have a quadratic again, so I need to go through the process of solving it. It's harder because I have a negative up here and we've never had to deal with that before, but I'll show you what we do when we get there. First, we need to get a 0 on the right side by getting rid of the 3 there. Now, I don't like this negative leading coefficient, so I'm just going to divide everything in this problem by -1, excuse me. So negative a squared divided by -1 is positive a squared. Positive 5a divided by -1 is negative 5a. Positive 24 divided by -1 is negative 24. And 0 divided by anything is still 0. So that effectively just changed all of the signs except for 0, which has no sign. So now I'm ready to start factoring this thing because it's a quadratic again. I need to look at -24 and its factors. So since it's -24, I know my signs will be different. I'll have one positive factor, one negative factor all the way down this table. Since my middle term is negative, I want my bigger factors to be negative. So I want my smaller factors to be positive. So I'm going to start, as always, by dividing by 1. And again, my smaller factors are positive. So divide by positive 1, I get -24. Divide by positive 2, I get -12. Divide by positive 3, I get -8. And I'm dividing -24 by these numbers, by the way. Divide -24 by 4, I get -6. 24 won't divide by 5. The next number up is 6, but I already have that listed on the other side, so I don't need to go any further. I'm at the point where I would just start repeating factors if I kept going. So now I need to look at my rows and see which pair of factors adds to -5, because that's my middle number. So 1 plus -24 is -23. 2 plus -12 is -10. 3 plus -8 is -5. That's the one I want. So that is my option. So a +3 and a -8 are the constants within my factors here. I have two different ones this time, so this isn't like the last two problems. The last two problems, my factors happen to be identical. In this case, they're not. I'm going to definitely get 2 points here. So I have a plus 3 equals 0 or a minus 8 equals 0, and I need to solve both of those, and those just came from my factors. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides in this first one, so I get a equals 3. I'm going to add 8 to both sides in this second equation, so a equals 8. So I have two possibilities here, that a is 3 or a is 8. So I'm getting 2 points out of this, it looks like. So I need to plug both of these a's back into this equation. So b equals 27 minus 3 squared. I'm plugging my first one, my first a, 3, into this equation. 27 minus 9, which is 18. That does not look right. I have to think about that for a second. Oh, what did I do wrong here? That should be a -3. There's where I went wrong, didn't I? I subtracted. I should have got -3 there, so that should be a -3. For those of you who caught that while you were watching this video, good job. That makes these steps a little different. This part will actually still work because -3 squared is 9. And then 27 minus 9 is still 18, but it makes a difference. I was doing a quick substitution in my head and I wasn't getting the right thing up there, but it still works. Okay, so -3, 18 is one of my answers. I got a -3 in my subtraction here. Plug that in, I get 18 for B. Now I need to plug my other A in to this same equation. So in this case, we have 27 minus 64. That's a big number. -37. 37 Yeah, negative 37. So this instance, our parabola, which is what this would graph, would intersect this line, which is what this would graph twice, which makes sense sometimes because if you graph a parabola, this one has a negative squared thing on it, so it would look kind of like that. And we had a line. We can see that sometimes you'll hit twice. So we have 2 points of intersection. I apologize for copying my signage down wrong there, but when we get that, just make sure you put a comma between your ordered pairs. And that about wraps it up. That is the end of this course. And that is all you'll do for these problems in this section is more substitution method. Sometimes you just happen to get more than 1 point. You can get up to 4 occasionally, but you'd have to have squareds in both of your equations here in order to ever see that happen. And if you do see that and you get stuck on it, you can definitely get in contact with me. I'll show you how to do that. But again, we are officially done with the class. As you're working through these homeworks, like I just mentioned, if you run into a problem with anything, just let me know. And as you're prepping for your final exam, if you have any questions about anything going backward, all the way back to the beginning of the class, definitely email or message me through MyLabs. And I hope I have been somewhat instructive to you this semester.